Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a reading that unfortunately I didn't want to do, but it's one of those readings where a lot of people have asked me to actually do the reading, and so I am here and I'm going to be giving you the tea, well, partial, because again, remember, I'm on YouTube, and so I have to be censored, but I'm sitting here behind my workstation, and I'm going to do the reading, and then I'll head on over to Patreon to give more details, what I see on here. This is going to be on the Delphi murders. So I hope I said that right. This is in Indiana. That took place in Indiana. I have here a pink candle, and I'm going to go ahead and light this before I get in. And then we'll give you some information here. A little backstory. So here's my candle. Just going to set this over here on the side. Alright, so I'm going to probably put my microphone back up here so I can talk. Hopefully you can still hear me. So for those of you that are not aware of the actual case, let me give you a little bit of backstory. So, when I do these readings, I try to get all the impressions that I can get. It was a 14-year-old and a 13-year-old. And so I'm just looking here. I'm looking for their photos because I have my phone here. I'm just going to look for their photos when I tune in. But I want to kind of read this to you. And like I said, on my channel, I don't filter anything, and I don't edit anything. So this is not going to be edited. 3 years ago, probably, yeah, 3 years. This is what the article says. But this was written back in 3 years ago. Two young girls went for a walk. And what happened on that unusually warm February day remains a mystery to this day. To everyone but Liberty German and Abigail Williams and the man who murdered them. February 13th, 2017. Libby and Abby were dropped off at the trail near Delphi's scenic Monon High Bridge, an abandoned railroad bridge over Deer Creek. Now, for those of you that haven't seen that picture of on the Snapchat that I believe Liberty took with her phone, that whole area. Let me go ahead and stop here and talk about what I saw with that bridge. Okay, can we say creepy? Creepy vibes. That whole area is creepy. A lot of death, Native American territory, a lot of souls around here. I feel like there have been other animals murdered or killed there in that area, in that property, in that whole area by the bridge, by these railroads. The energy there just felt very evil, very sinister, and I do see a lot of portals open around the bridge. So like police investigators that would be looking at this later on, I know that they don't believe necessarily in the paranormal, but the paranormal is very real. And they don't necessarily believe in psychics, but a lot of us have tuned in. Now, I've worked on several murder cases, but I never have publicly like spoken about them. But people that I've helped know about those cases, and one of them made it on the ID channel as well. And I believe it was the aunt of the nephew. You know, it was her nephew that was murdered, and I won't give details and stuff due to confidentiality. But she approached me and she said everything that I had said was right. And so this is going to be like a very emotional reading for me. Only because when I look at the sweet little faces of Abigail and Liberty, they remind me like they could be my little sisters or be my little nieces. And it's like it's crazy to believe that there's so much evil in this world that would take out and murder two innocent young teenagers, two innocent young girls. Um, and it's hard to believe that there's that much evil in this world, but it does exist. And I feel like this whole area of Delphi, that near that bridge, is just a very bad area. And so I needed to talk about that. Okay. So we know that they were dropped off in that bridge. They wanted to go and I don't know, walk or whatever, that trail, that area. Hours later, when they failed to meet their ride home at the same location, it would kick off a series of events that would forever change the tiny town of Delphi, Indiana. Delphi. I'm sorry if I get the name wrong. Despite having a video, audio, and two sketches from potential witnesses in the area, investigators have yet to find the man responsible for the murders. We thought that we were going to get the clues that we needed and be done with this in 4 to 5 days, ISP Detective Jerry Holman said in 2019. We realized that this is a totally different type of investigation, but a killer is still out there. And so the Indiana police sergeant Kim Riley says investigators have interviewed over 1,000 people, including possible witnesses, suspects, and anyone who may have information about suspicious activity on the days the girls went missing. To this day, he says between 6 to 8 people work on Libby and Abby's case each day throughout the week. But despite all of the evidence released to the public, investigators have also been open about the fact that they are holding some of it close to their vest with the goal of having information that only the killer would know when they finally arrest him. Okay, so what I did is I tune into their photos. So let me just pull up their photos. That's the backstory. Okay, this is a sketch of the two girls. This is Liberty. She was 14, and this girl over here was Abby, who was 13, right? And so, when I look at them, Abigail was more of the rambunctious type of kid. She was very full of life, spontaneity. She loved fashion. She loved doing things. This is Abigail that I'm talking about. She was in that mode of, like, I want to be cool. I want to be like someone that is growing up a little too soon. And I feel like she was, in some ways, she wanted to be older sooner. Okay. And then I have Liberty. And when I look at Liberty and her energy and her soul, she was more mature. She was more mature. I get that she was very smart. And she would do so much for her family. Like, she loved her family. And she also, their friendship, their bond was an authentic bond. These two were very, very vocal. But I do feel like on some level, Liberty suffered from some kind of depression. I feel like she would have been an empath, an energetic, intuitive empath. And so she's very psychic when I tune into Liberty. And I feel like she knew... she could read people's energy without even knowing, because she's so young, and usually young kids like this don't really know. And so kids that age wouldn't really know, or focus too much on their gifts. But I do feel like Liberty was very much focused on her gifts in some way, on a subconscious level, and she was very in tune with the whole situation. Now, when I get into Abigail's energy, again, very fun. I feel like she was in that teenager mindset, 13-year-old, that just wants to have fun. She is, obsessed with, like, growing up too soon, makeup, dressing, fashion, like I said, boys, quite possibly, wanting to get into that mindset. Like, it was a new world for her, and I feel like she was ready to kind of like, and I feel like they had crushes on some people. They had crushes on actors on TV. There was the show Spirit keeps talking about. There would have been some show that they both would have loved watching. And again, they loved just, hanging out together. They had the best time. So they were very much related, I feel like, in a past life as well. But I can tell you that they were reunited in this world. Definitely were reunited in this world. Because their souls came to heal their families. At the same time, I don't feel like they were, this was their exit point. They weren't going to necessarily pass this way. This is when I talk about dark souls being here on Earth and interfering with people's life path and journeys. And so they were murdered. Okay, so now I'm going to just share with you what I did, which, hold on 1 second. Okay. What I did was I went ahead and got a clipboard, and I try to do tapping into this killer, into this serial killer, because I believe that this person is a serial killer. It's not someone that has not had experience with this. I do feel. Let me just hold this to my mouth. I think it'll be easier. And I got a clipboard, and I just did what I do normally as just typing, but I decided I wanted to go ahead and just write it out. So I have a lot of notes here that I took about the stuff that I got from, that I psychically tapped into. These were impressions on the murderer, and then on the girls and what happened on that bridge. As we know, like I said, I believe it was Liberty. She took pictures or was Snapchatting, and there was a picture of a guy that was on the bridge behind them. And you hear him say, "Down, hey guys, down the hill," or something like that, something to that nature. Something to that effect. And then again, we don't know anything the next day, I believe, the way their bodies are found. But the autopsy reports have been basically sealed. They don't want people talking about it. I'm sure that people that were volunteers or people that were in the crime scene know. And a lot of rumors have surfaced online. There's been a lot of speculation. My insight here is from a psychic perspective, and I never would consider myself a psychic, a criminal investigator, or a psychic screener, but I can use my gift for that. And so when I tune into the photograph, because that's how I read people in my private readings, I look at their photographs and I can pick up on many things from them. And so when I tune into the alleged killer who was captured on film, I got that, first of all, this guy was definitely in his late 40s, mid 50s. I think they have him wrong. They widened the range to like between 18 and 40, but I do not get that. And so I'm going to just check mark the things that I'm going to reveal here, and the things that I'm not, I will definitely be revealing on my Patreon, and it's going to be on my Platinum Patreon if you want to join that later. And it's www.patreon.com/psychic medium Ray. So the guy is definitely within his 40s and 50s. There's been a lot of questions whether he was Caucasian or another nationality. I do feel like he was possibly Caucasian. Okay. I did get here, just checking out everything here. When I tuned into him, I did get that he was very craftful, very much into plumbing. So like he had experience before as handyman is what I got. I also felt like he would have driven a vehicle that would have not been a car, but actually a truck. This could have been like in one of his jobs that he had at some point in his life. Now, I'm not saying that he has just a car, because people have saw or witnessed to a car, but I actually picked up a white truck, and I feel like this would have been a Ford truck is what I got. I got a lot of information on this person from Spirit. I got that this person loved Mexican food, so I'm not sure with Delphi, if they would have had that there. I do get that the killer, the serial killer, would have had a metal object in his pocket. Okay, this would have been possibly a knife, but it was a very long weapon. Long weapon used. I also, when I tune into him, it's funny because, well, it's not, this is not funny at all, but it's funny in the aspect that when I can see photos, I can see things like actually in the photos, and spirits will reveal certain things. There was a gun involved. This would have been, I don't know if it would have been a 9mm, but I got 9mm. Okay. I did get that at least this guy was married at least once and has 2 adult kids. And I get that this guy definitely knew the area very, very well, okay? This person, again, would have been like a hunter. I do get that he had scruff, or he has scruff now all over his face. And I feel like he would be in his 50s now. And I also feel like he has health conditions, okay? There was something about the 1975 that was coming in very strongly. I don't know if he would have been in high school in that time frame, or he would have just been finished with high school, or he would have been a teenager. But there's something with connected to the 1975 year. I also got that 1994 was a very important year as well in this case. So we're talking about 1975 and 1994. Okay. I did get taxidermy as well. So there was this obsession with animals and hunting and taxidermy with this person. Definitely he loved wearing camo. Went out in the woods, went out, out camping or doing things like that. And I picked up a lot of death around him. So I feel like this person is a serial killer on the loose and has done other murders and will continue to do other murders until he is captured. Okay. So like when I tuned into his photo, I saw a lot of faces, a lot of death. His ancestors, his spiritual ancestors on the other side, they are not happy with him. There's a lot of people that are not happy with him. I did get that someone in his family would have died from breast cancer. It was a female, and I did feel a female energy around him a lot. I did get that this person... there was a connection to a hospital as well. So this person would have had surgery at least 2 times in his life, or some kind of connection with a hospital, okay? So I'm just checking off everything that I have here. And he definitely had many dogs, okay, as pets. Many dogs. Now, the thing that I got, there's a lot more information, but I will share this more so on my Patreon when it comes to this. What I got was like the girls. I got visions and snapshots. So they were on the bridge. They were walking. The bridge has gaps. This railroad bridge area has gaps, in the wood. So you have to be very careful. This person, what I got is that he would have had to have control over the girls, right? He had to assume control, because if you're talking about 2 young teenage girls, right, and this guy has a limp on his leg, obviously he has a bad knee. He cannot run after 2 girls and kill them like that. I definitely got that he would have had to assume control with a weapon, like a gun. And when you are young like that, I feel like young people can be very, well, at any age, I really should retract that and say that at any age you can be easily influenced. Like they say, like if you're being held at gunpoint, or somebody is like pointing to your car window, to get out, do not get out, do not go with the killer at all. I feel what I felt from all of this was that the girls were very traumatized by this. They were frozen in fear, but this guy had control over them in their mind. A lot of people tend to believe that he knew the girls. I don't feel like the girls knew him. Again, this is just my psychic insights that I'm getting. but I do feel like he would have followed the girls and known the area very well, and would have known that there was no one watching. It would have been the perfect crime scene. It was premeditated. Again, the mind of a serial killer. What was he thinking? Like, why? All of this I'll share on my Patreon. I do get from this that Liberty, the 14-year-old, she was taken from like behind. I saw someone come from behind her and was holding her. She was kicking her feet and screaming in a panic. This is a horrible, horrible thing that happened. And with Abigail, there would have been less of a fight. I feel like, again, because she was young and small, she wouldn't have had much of a fight. But I felt bones. There was trauma to their bodies. I definitely picked up on trauma. I have a lot of pain on my arms as well. I don't know if their arms were restrained, but I do feel like there was some resistance with Liberty in kind of getting away, kind of trying to defend herself. There would have been broken bones. There would have been trauma to the body. I felt a lot of pain on my backside as well, and I felt like from my chest area as well, the neck, the head, all of these areas would have had some kind of trauma, or there would have been like an impact, because I felt like when someone is pushed, when you're pushed, is what I kept feeling, like you're pushed and then you are beaten, and so I got that. And then I don't know all of the details, but I don't feel like they would have been shot. I don't feel the shot, unless that's what I'm feeling. I felt more of a stab, like someone being bludgeoned and then stabbed. So again, I know that this is TMI. This is a very hard thing to look at and to even hear, but it's what I felt. It's what I heard from spirit, and I felt like Liberty was screaming. And I can't go into more details because it's traumatic for me as well, what I saw. I feel like, again, just that their souls were immediately, they went to heaven, because of the fact that this was so traumatic. It was a very traumatic exit. I feel like, I don't know if I said this already, but I feel like Abigail would have been the first one to be murdered, and then it would have been Liberty. I don't know if the autopsies reveal this with the hours, if they can tell by when rigor mortis sets in and all of that nature. But I felt like Abigail would have been the first one to go, and then I felt it was Liberty. Okay, some other psychics may have it a different way. I could be wrong on that part. There was definitely some running. I feel like the girls did try to get away. They did try to hide, but again, this person had control over them. I don't feel like this person was working with other people. It was a one-man job. He definitely didn't want other people to know. Like I said, I feel like this person is just an awful person. A lot of death on his hands. I feel like he is afraid, and I did get a connection. I don't know what this means or why I would feel it. This all happened in Delphi, Indiana, right? But I also felt a connection to Michigan. So either this man was a transplant to Indiana or has family connected to Michigan. There's something about Michigan as well, the East Coast, but specifically Michigan. I don't know what the connection is. Will this person be caught? I do feel like this person will be caught, but I don't know if the police will be able to link the person to the murders. Were the girls, well, I won't say anymore because it's too much that I'm sharing here. So I definitely am going to go to my Patreon Platinum group, and if you want to know more, you can join there. I know a lot of people will be upset with that, but I can only share certain things without I know this video will probably get already demonetized or limited ads on it. But whatever the case is, this is a horrible situation that I don't wish on any mother or any family or anybody that would have been friends. And my heart goes out to these girls' mothers, their family, their fathers, their cousins, their friends, their teachers. This is such a horrible, horrible, and sickening murder that took place. And it's some people have said that this has been like a cold case, but I don't pick up that it's a cold case. I feel like the case is still open. I do feel the frustration from both mothers, and I feel like they want closure, and it's something I know that they are wishing to receive. But I do feel like this person will receive their justice on the other side, possibly also in the legal system as well. But they definitely need to look into these things that I mentioned. And again, I will be sharing more on my Patreon. But I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry if this was a very difficult video for a lot of my rays of light to listen to. I don't and I won't be doing a lot of these videos on here, only because they are very, very strenuous, very low vibration, and very very hard for me to process this as a physical medium. I can't even have words for this. I want to wish you all, my rays of light, so much love after watching this. Please sage, use Palo Santo, say a prayer. This is so heavy and it's so hard, but this is the psychic insights that I got. And if you want to know more, you can head on over to my Patreon. Many blessings and love and light. Until next time. Bye.